Hello, everyone. First and foremost, I'd like to say welcome, and I hope you and your families are healthy and doing as well as you can be during what is a completely unprecedented time for all of us. My name is David Alley. I am a special agent with the Department of Homeland Security Investigations in Detroit, Michigan. I am assigned to the Child Exploitation Unit. What that means is we investigate crimes involving the exploitation of children, most typically over the internet. So that's what we're going to talk about in this video today. I know everyone's kids are home much more than we're all used to and are most likely on technology much more than we're used to. So during this presentation, I'm going to give a quick overview of some of the more popular apps that are out there with children, with teens, some of the ways that we can help keep them safe, apps to be on the lookout for, and parental controls that we can have. A little bit about me. I have been with the Department of Homeland Security for 13 years. I have been working crimes against children for the past 5 years. I am a computer forensics agent. I was a presenter at the 34th International Symposium on Child Abuse. I was a nominee for the 2019 National Center for Missing and Exploited Children Hero Awards, and I am the Senior Defensive Tactics Instructor with HSI Detroit. So with that said about me, let's get right into sort of the heart of the presentation. Couple statistics just to start us off. Nearly 1/3 of children have a computer that is in their bedroom at all times. 66% of middle schoolers regularly use a smartphone. 9 out of 10 children between the ages of 8 and 16 have admitted to viewing pornography online. And that's both intentional and unintentional. And I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. And then 1 in 5 teens have engaged in sexting. Some studies have that as high as 1 in 4. And a lot of this stuff is self-reported. So, if we're getting reports of 1 in 5 or 1 in 4, it's likely higher than that. 40% of children are spending at least 30 hours per week on a cell phone. Again, with all the craziness that's going on right now, it's probably much higher. It's wonderful that we've gotten to a point where technology is advanced, where we are able to keep in touch with friends and family via social media, via the internet during times like this. But there's a bit of a darker side to it as well. 88% of parents know their child's cell phone password. That's fantastic. That's great. It should be closer to 100%, but 88 is pretty high. But only 50% use any sort of parental controls, filters, things of that nature. Just knowing the password's not enough. Just having the ability to get to the phone is not enough. We need to be actively seeing what's going on the phone. And then a little bit about social media use by teens, by preteens. 96% of them use YouTube. Most people use YouTube. And I'll talk about that a little bit later in the presentation, the ups and downs of YouTube. Instagram is extremely popular. 72% reported using that. Snapchat, very, very popular, 60%. And then Facebook, unfortunately, the one that we're most likely to be familiar with, parents, is not particularly used by younger kids anymore. And I'll get a little bit more into what Facebook is offering for younger kids and the pluses and minuses to that as well. So how do kids get online? Almost everything, right? Computers, cell phones, MP3 players, video game consoles, e-readers, Nooks, Kindles. All of these things can get online, can reach out, can download the apps that I'm going to be talking about. So what do we do online when we're online? A lot of you recognize these, YouTube, Call of Duty, Fortnite, stuff that our kids are doing while they're home, while they can't go outside, while they're connecting with their friends online. So we should recognize a lot of these ones. We may not recognize these as much, and we'll get into these as well, but these are also apps that are popular with children and are unfortunately very abusable. My disclaimer with all this is that social media is not inherently good and not inherently bad. These apps are not inherently good or not inherently bad. It's all the way in which they're used, and the way that kids use them and the way that bad guys use them, frankly. The internet's dangerous, right? That's what we needed to log on for, right? We can all log off now. We don't have to watch more of the video. No, of course not. You don't need me to tell you the internet's dangerous. We all know there are dangers lurking on the internet. Hacking, sexual exploitation, sextortion, hate speech, cyberbullying, stalking. The list goes on and on and on. At the end of the day, it's just not about trust. It's about keeping our kids safe and as safe as we possibly can. So who are the bad guys, right? Who are the bad guys that we're trying to look out for on the internet? I wish I could tell you there was a one-size-fits-all classification. I wish I could tell you, hey, look out for this, and this guy, and you'll be fine. Unfortunately, there's not. There's no one-size-fits-all classification of bad guys. People that we've convicted include priests, doctors, coaches, engineers, musicians, people, frankly, who have access to children. And in Like the shutdown, anybody with social media, if our children are on social media, they'll have access to our children, and males and females. We see both men and women. So don't just assume, well, it's a woman. It can't possibly. We arrest women for this sort of thing too. And then who are our victims? Kids. This slide could just say kids. Kids of all ages, races, backgrounds. There's, again, just like there's not one size fits all classification for bad guys, there's no one size fits all classification for our victims. Kids are trusting. Kids are inherently trusting. They're curious. They're unable to see the long-term consequences of their actions as adults would. And they're able to be exploited. They're able to be coerced by adults. They're able to be intimidated by adults. The bad guys and bad girls we're talking about are experienced at this sort of thing. This is what they do. This is what they know, and they're very good at it through the means with which they exploit our children. And exploited kids are our victims. We do not blame children. We do not fault children for if they produce pictures of themselves, videos of themselves. The children are not at fault. It is the bad guys that we blame, and we are going after the bad guys, not the children who have produced this. And that's very, very important. I want everyone to know that your children are not in trouble if they get caught up if they've produced a video, produced an image for bad guys. It's the bad guys that we want to go after. We don't want to make our children any more fearful of consequences than they need to be. So how do bad guys reach out? A lot of different ways. Bad guys can pose the child, can say, oh, hey, you're, a 13-year-old from this school. Well, I'm a 12-year-old from this school, this town over. I'm, a 15-year-old who goes to this high school. There's also bad guys who don't pose the child, who put themselves out there as exactly what they are. Hey, I'm such and such. I'm a real nice guy. Here's the sort of things that I can do for you. They develop trust. They establish secrecy. Especially as they don't pose as a child. They don't pretend to be someone their age. They're an adult who says this is just our special secret relationship. Nobody knows about this but us. To isolate the children, to keep them from again, sort of letting anybody know that bad guys talking to them. And then again, threats and grooming, right? When being Mr. Nice Guy doesn't work, all right, well, oftentimes being Mr. Bad Guy will work. And we'll get a little bit more into that, sort of how they threaten them, what sort of they do to make children believe they should be afraid. And then grooming. Grooming is a process of manipulation practiced by predatory offenders. Offenders prey on children's vulnerabilities, their fears, their need for attention, their need for affection, especially in these unprecedented times where kids are missing their friends. They're missing that close connection with people they enjoy being around. Predators are more than happy to fill that void, to fill that need for praise, for attention, for positive human contact. Desensitization to pornography and explicit content. So this is sort of what I was talking about earlier about unintentionally being shown pornography. Bad guys are more than happy to show their intended victims pornography, explicit content, things to make them think, oh, well, this is normal. This is what everyone sees, what everyone does. They're happy to show our children that, to get them used to seeing it, so that it's something that they can say, well, it's just normal. Everyone does it. You may as well do it for me. And again, like I said, isolating children from the parents, right? Bad guy knows once parents find out, the game's over. No parent's going to be okay with this. So they're telling these children, oh, no one understands it. It's you and us, or it's you and me. We have a special relationship. And then threats, right? So this is the sextortion side of things. This is the once bad guy gets a compromising picture, once bad guy gets a compromising video. Hey, the good guy mask can come off now, right? I'm actually not, a 12-year-old girl like I said I was. I'm actually a 35-year-old guy living in Virginia, I'm actually not this, nice, caring adult that I said I was. I'm actually a bad guy, and you're going to produce more content from me or else everyone's getting this picture, and we see it time and time again. So why don't kids tell? We all hope our children would confide in us, would tell on us, but we see time and time again that they don't for numerous reasons. The reasons can be they're scared, they're embarrassed. They've been threatened by bad guy. Bad guy said, hey, if you tell anybody, right, if I'm going down, you're going down. And that's either I'm putting your content all over the internet, I'm putting your pictures all over the internet, I'm sending them to your parents, or, hey, you're going to get arrested. You've produced child pornography. You're in as much trouble as I am. And it's just not the case. But again, if a child's never heard that before, we see it again and again where bad guy has told the child, hey, listen, man, I might be in some trouble, but you're in exactly as much trouble. So rather than getting anybody involved, maybe you better just keep doing what I say. We see that they feel like they're in love with their predator. They feel like they have this relationship. The predators convince them that they do truly have a special relationship. as opposed to the predator just grooming them and using them for what they need. So we'll talk a little bit about some of the more popular social media apps that we see. First and foremost, we see is Kik. Kik is an app that's been around for a long time and is it's a haven for predators. There are a lot of bad guys on this app. It used to be much more popular with kids. We don't see it as often anymore, but we are still seeing it with our younger crowd. Kids like Kik because there's not a cell phone required. Obviously you can use it on a cell phone, but you don't need a cell phone plan. You don't need a phone number. It's not something where you need to have a texting enabled. You just need to have a tablet, a phone, something that can get data and download apps. There's no parental controls on Kik. There's no really way to filter the content. It's sort of it's on or it's off. And it offers text messaging, image sending, video sending. And one of the caveats that I will say is any app that can send images, messages, videos, we have seen used to exploit children. It's the sad nature of the beast that any app that is able to send content, we have seen children exploited on it. And Kik is one that is a very sort of, when I say light app, there's not a lot of additional features to it outside of the ability to make friends, make contacts, and then send content. There's no real parental controls. And predators love Kik. Predators love it because you can be anonymous. You can make Kik accounts without tying it to any real facet of your life. It doesn't verify phone numbers, email addresses, things of that nature. You can have multiple accounts that's set up that you would log into, log out of. This content is destroyed once the app is logged out of. Predators know this, and they'll instruct their victims, hey, make sure that we're logging out when we're done, just so that way it's harder to find evidence. So this is a very, very popular one that if you find on your children's device, I would be very, very cautious. I probably would not let it on my children's device. This is something there's just too many bad guys on this particular app. Snapchat. A lot of kids have Snapchat. A lot of adults have Snapchat. There's a lot of fun things to Snapchat. Again, as responsible adults, it's a fun messenger service to be sending. But again, there's a lot of drawbacks to it. Similar to Kik, it can run on iPhones. Not just iPhones. It can run on any smartphone, tablets, iPods, Kindles. Anything you can download apps to. It's anonymous. Again, it's something we don't have to tie it to your real identity. And then photos, disappear after we send them, right? So there's this frightening false sense of security that it's okay, I can send whatever I want. They're gone, right? They disappear after I send them. Not really. Snapchat notifies you, of course, if someone takes a screenshot. It doesn't stop the bad guy from still having the picture. Doesn't stop the bad guy from taking a picture with another phone. Doesn't stop the bad guy from putting the phone in airplane mode. Recording his screen. Even if it sends you notifications they've done it, it's too late and they have that content. Now, we've seen that time and time again where children will produce content where, I'm safe because it's gone, and then bad guys use that to get them to produce further content. So again, this is something to be very aware of, the fallbacks, that nothing's ever really gone. Again, that false sense of safety. TikTok is a very, very popular app. TikTok is sort of a reminder why predators should make us so angry. TikTok should be a great fun app. It's a fun app where kids can create videos of themselves dancing, of themselves singing. It should just be a lot of fun. But unfortunately, it's not. Predators know that kids are congregating there, and anywhere they know kids are congregating, they're going to make themselves available there too, because they know that's where their victims are. Accounts by default are public. And there's no control over who can comment on a child's video if it's public. Same thing with direct messaging. The default setting is that anyone can message. So unless you're really digging down deep into those parental controls, you're not going to be able to stop people from saying things, commenting things, saying whatever they would want, even on a completely innocuous video, something cute and fun that a child's produced. Once a bad guy has said something terrible, the cat's sort of out of the bag, and unfortunately, there's no way for us to unring that bell. And so it's something where we need to really pay close attention to what the privacy settings are. And then again, location information may or may not be turned on by default. You may be sharing your location of where you are, where your child is. Instagram, this is a very, very popular one. Users can view and respond to images. They can view posts made by others. But again, bad guys know children are on there, so bad guys are on there too. Instagram offers direct messaging with the same disappearing image and video function that Snapchat offers. Again, it provides this false sense of security, as well as it offers a direct video chat, which again is always concerning. when children are broadcasting live video. They may be following instructions from bad guy. They may be following orders from bad guy to produce these things in real time. And then Finstas. Finsta is a term for a fake Instagram account. Typically, it's a sub account under a user's main Instagram account. So mom and dad may know about the regular Instagram account, may not be so savvy about the Finsta account. Typically, it's a bit more salacious content, a bit more stuff you don't want all of your followers seeing, maybe just more of a handful of them. Facebook Messenger Kids. So this has become popular recently, especially in light of all of the quarantining. It's a good way for children to stay in touch with their friends. It's a kid-friendly version of our typical Facebook Messenger. It's geared for the younger crowd. Specifically, I believe it's geared for 9 to 11-year-olds, but really anyone under 13, this is what it's geared towards. It's a standalone messenger service. Your children do not have to have a Facebook account to use it. As far as social media apps go, this is probably my favorite. This has some very robust parental controls. You as a parent can see all of their messages. You as a parent have to approve their friends. So as far as a social media for kids, this is one of the better ones. Of course, nothing's perfect, right? If your child thinks they're talking to their friend, but someone else has gotten a hold of that child's account through whatever reason, so somebody else has that child's device and is using it. There's obvious concern that they might think they're talking to their friend who just wants a silly picture or a silly video, but in reality, it's bad guy. So nothing's perfect. There's no perfect messaging system. And again, the parental controls are not a substitute for parental involvement. But again, as far as the apps that I've seen, this one's pretty good. Periscope. Periscope is a live broadcasting function from a Twitter account. Videos can be made private or public. The way we've seen this used a lot in child exploitation is children will be told to broadcast videos of themselves via Periscope. It generates a link. And then that link is then shared by bad guy in other bad guy chat rooms, applications, in order to get different content, right? So now instead of one bad guy watching, there's 20 bad guys watching. There's 50 bad guys watching, as a child's being given orders in real time. And the videos may or may not be saved to the child's device. Bad guys are likely saving them. Bad guys tend to save things as they watch them, but it may or may not be being saved to our child's device. Telegram. Telegram is not particularly popular with children. It's extremely popular with predators. We see a lot of child expletive content being shared across this platform. This is something that if your child has, I'd be very, very concerned about, just due to the nature of it, due to the sort of the people that we know are using it. It is an encrypted messaging platform. The messages are set to self-destruct after a set period of time. It was actually banned from the App Store at one time over safety concerns. It has since become back. But it's something I would be very, very hesitant to allow on a child's device. Omegle. Omegle can be run on a phone, on a computer. This is a random webcam-based chat. It would connect your child, or you frankly, would connect the end user with another random person running Omegle, on their device. It's an age limit of 13 plus, but obviously there's no checking IDs, making sure. A lot of explicit content on this, and there's no filter. There's no sort of asking to uncover something. It's just you press the go button and you see whatever the person's broadcasting. If it's a bad guy, you're seeing whatever bad guy is deciding to broadcast. So it's something I would not let my children use. Something I'd be very hesitant about allowing to use for any reason. Obviously, it's something that's was meant to be a fun idea to connect us all, but something that's being utilized by bad guys more and more. And bad guys using screen recorders, so it's not like, oh, you press the go away button and you're not there anymore. They'll have the content that they get forever. YouTube, right? Obviously, some great content on YouTube. There's a lot of stuff I like on YouTube. Hydraulic press channel is a blast. If you haven't seen it, I would check it out after this. It's just somebody crushing things with a hydraulic press. It's very soothing. But unfortunately, like anything else, we're seeing it used for child exploitation. We are seeing a lot of people posing as YouTube stars agents. We do occasionally see the one-off YouTube star who has an interest in children to get them to produce. But more typically, we're seeing people, hey, I'm the agent for such and such. I can make you famous. I just need a couple of videos from you. I need a couple of, not videos like that, a couple of videos like this, and I can make you as big of a star as Logan Paul. So that's what we see a lot of. And then again, with children having YouTube accounts, these accounts, if they are public, there's no way we control what a predator says. Once they've said a terrible, horrible thing, even if we are appropriately horrified, that is still out there, and it's nothing we can control. And listen, this list of apps that I've gone over is not all inclusive. There's been new apps developed in the time that I've been talking. There are apps that exist solely to hide other apps. At the end of this presentation, I'll talk about a couple of resources that we have to sort of help parents as new apps are developed to navigate them. But just make sure any app that's downloaded, make sure you know what it does and what the parental controls are. Gaming, right? If your kids are anything like mine, we've had a significant spike in video game use in the past 2 weeks. So our old worry is this game appropriate? Our new worry is who else is playing this game with my child? Modern gaming consoles are designed to be connected to the internet. Many mobile apps, have a chat function, have a way to interact. Most games have a group speak function. And again, there's no way to control what bad guys are saying in that environment. Predators are also often able to buy children those special in-game items, those special bonus items that parents either don't want them to have, aren't interested in them having, that kids aren't able to buy themselves. And that's another way for them to groom, to build that trust. Oh, hey, I'm happy to give you, $10 in V-Bucks to help build that relationship. They can share this interest, right? If you both meet in a Call of Duty, video game room, well, it's obviously you both have an interest in Call of Duty. So that's an easy starting point for a bad guy. And then typically we see bad guy direct children to social media, to a Kick account, to a Snapchat account, where, hey, maybe you didn't like me. Well, I've got this, 14-year-old girl I was talking to the other day, and I think she'd like you a lot. Well, of course, there's no 14-year-old girl. It's just bad guy using his fake Kick account. And then again, check and see if the chat settings can be disabled, can be, changed, can be toned down, tamped down, whatever you can, so that strangers aren't talking to our children while they're playing these games. So identifying a victim, right? What might our victims do? Our victims might quickly close windows, switch windows, close programs. Right? If you walk into the room and suddenly your child is closing windows or throwing the phone across the room, well, that's a warning sign that merits some follow up. They may stop using the phone, stop using the computer. Again, if your kids are anything like mine, they're on their technology constantly. If you see all of a sudden they're a little bit more hesitant, they don't want to go on there because that's where bad guy is, right? It might be time to ask some questions. They might, you hear that ding go off for a message, for an instant message, and a child gets nervous, uneasy. That's a warning sign that something's going wrong. They may withdraw from friends, from family or activities. I know that we're all sort of withdrawing from family and friends and activities now, so it's a little harder to gauge, but they may start to withdraw from those things they enjoy doing even during these quarantine times. So what can we do, right? What can we do to best protect ourselves during these times? Education is the first best step, right? Especially in the quarantine, as we're all on our devices. Establish our expectations. Establish expectations of our children, what we want them to be doing while they're on their devices. Remind them that no one is who they say they're online. Anyone could be anyone while they're online. And understand that once something is online, once content is produced, once a video is produced, an image is produced, it's there for good. And that's good internet etiquette to begin with. All of our kids are gonna have to get jobs someday. But especially as far as sending pictures, sending videos, once it's there, it's there for good. Personal information sharing, what's okay, what's not okay. Telling them that, hey, listen, adults shouldn't be contacting you directly, on a one-on-one basis. I have coached before. I've done this where I've instructed children. I would never contact them directly. If I needed to, I would make sure their parents were aware that, I was contacting them and started group chat with them and their parents. I would never contact a child directly, and I would have my child tell me immediately if an adult contacted them directly. And again, remind our children they can always say no. They can always say no to requests. They can always say no to what a bad guy is asking. Because bad guys, when they ask for a little bit more, they're never satisfied. There's never enough. And the hole just gets deeper and darker the more the children comply. That said, mistakes are still going to be made, right? Remind children what to do when they encounter appropriate content. Close the app, close the browser, don't log out. Obviously, we want to catch this guy. If bad guy is talking to our kids, we want to make sure they're getting stopped. Turn off the device, turn off the app, and then tell the kids, tell a trusted adult. And the trusted adult should then tell the police, right? This isn't something we can deal with sort of on we just won't talk about this anymore. It'll go away. Because bad guy won't. Bad guy will either keep coming after our child or bad guy will find a different child. And we have the tools. We can find them. We can stop them. The children are not in trouble with us. They're not in trouble with law enforcement. We just want to find bad guy and help the kids. So monitoring, and I'll get a little bit into monitoring software. But at the end of the day, this isn't about trust. I love my kids. I have great trust in my kids. I have monitoring software on all of our devices. Again, there's no way we control what a bad guy says once we're on an app where bad guys are. No unaccompanied screen time. We shouldn't be in the basement on our tablets. We shouldn't be in our bedrooms by ourselves on our phones. We're researching any app that's used. Anything that's got a messaging ability. We're seeing what the parental controls are, if there are any, and what we can do to tamp it down. Social media, right? Mom and dad are friends on all of our accounts. Mom and dad have passwords to all of our accounts. We can check it anytime that we want. And then monitoring software. So there's a lot of good ones out there. I don't work for a monitoring software company. I'm not here to pitch a monitoring software company. These are great ones that I have seen. Personally, I have used Life 360. I have used Custodio. They work great. They give a great sense of what your child is doing. It gives you great feedback on what they're doing. I know Our Pact is very, very popular. But again, I'm not here to pitch a specific monitoring software, just knowing that there are numerous options out there. If your child is a victim, if something should happen, especially in times like these, remind them it's not their fault. Remind them that they are not in trouble with law enforcement, right? They're doing the right thing coming forward. They're doing the right thing, telling an adult so we can solve this problem. Please don't reach out to the predator. We've had a number of cases where, and I understand, trust me, I understand where, mom and dad have seen what bad guy said and they've reached out to him. You lousy so-and-so, we're calling the police. Well, that's just giving them warning. That's like us calling to make a reservation for a search warrant. It's just not good from a stopping them standpoint. I understand the anger. But if you can avoid doing that, it'll make it much more likely we can find them. And then don't delete anything. This is stuff later. If there's an arrest, if there's a trial, it's stuff that we'll need later to put them where they need to be. Report immediately. Report to the authorities. Our tip line number is down there. 866-DHS-2-ICE. All of these tips are taken seriously. All of them generate a report. And they will come to us for us to follow up an investigation. Every tip that comes in is taken extremely seriously. These resources for parents are great to check out. Some of them are cyber safety tips. Some of them, the Howcast is a great video for popular websites, popular apps, and it sort of gives you a walkthrough of how they work, what they do, and what the features are in them. This is a resource that I bring up because it's helpful. It's a resource for removing content on websites. Bad guys posted a picture to a website that we don't want up there, right? A picture that we don't want online. This site is good instruction for how to take it down. This is not a substitute for parental involvement and not a substitute for law enforcement involvement. It's just one more thing. If a picture is up from a site that we would want taken down, this can help with that. And this is my contact information. Please feel free. I know we went through this very quickly. This is a presentation I typically give over a much longer period of time. That is my email address. That is my phone number. Please call with questions, email with questions. I'm happy to help. It's important in this time to keep our kids safe, right? We have enough to worry about right now with all the health concerns without having to worry about, bad guys on the internet as well. They're out there. I wish they weren't, but they are. We want to keep your kids safe as much as you do. Everyone in my office will drop what we are doing to investigate crimes that are harming children. So we want them safe as much as you guys do. Thank you so much for listening to this. I truly appreciate it. Again, feel free to call and email with questions. I hope